welcome to NDTV Profit. I'm Sanjana Chauhan and you're watching our special coverage on the online gaming bill that has now been passed in the Lok Sabha. The bill proposes a sweeping ban on all real money games, whether based on skill or chance, stopping the advertisements and blocking banks from processing related transactions. Now, the All India Gaming Federation has appealed to the Home Minister to step in, warning that a blanket ban could cripple this fast-growing industry. Their call is for regulation, not prohibition. I had an exclusive conversation with S. Krishnan, the Secretary of MeitY, about the rationale behind the government's plan to ban online money gaming and what the government's potential next steps could look like. Let's listen in.
There's an entire ecosystem there, which can potentially make India the game development capital of the world. And a number of measures have been taken to actually support that. The National Institute of Creative Technology is coming up in Mumbai. STPI, which functions under MeitY, has centers of excellence both in Hyderabad as part of T-Hub and also in the Northeast. And we are working through a number of other ways by which gaming-related development is being focused on. One of the issues which has repeatedly come up in the gaming sector has been clarity on classification. Many parts of the gaming sector believe that they are tarred by association, and there is a segment of the gaming sector which is causing distress, financial distress, social distress related to addiction and so on. One part of it is doing that, whereas another part is really positively oriented in terms of gamification, development, content development, creative development, and so on. Government's intent is very clear that the portion which relates to the positive outcomes needs to be encouraged and developed. And for that, a clear delineation has to be made between the two parts of the industry. And therefore, there's a clear definition which has been offered in this act of within online gaming of esports and online social games, which include both recreational and educational games.
But let's analyze what impact this entire thing would actually have on stocks specifically. And my colleague Vansh is here with that analysis. Vansh, over to you.
Clearly, this would be there has been a blanket ban on the real money gaming for these companies, and clearly this will be negative for the companies whose revenue comes from segments like fantasy, sports, online rummy and poker. Now, it's important to understand the distinction between the games, real money gaming and other categories. Now, companies that focus on subscription models and in-app purchases or advertising-based revenue differ from the real money segment. So it's important to understand. And if we talk about the impact on the listed company space, let me start off with Delta Corp. Now, the stock has rallied on the introduction of the new gaming bill yesterday, and we can see the follow-up gains in today's trade as well. So now this is on the back of the casino operations. Now, the casino operations are not targeted under the new online gaming bill, and the casino operations account for 90% of the company's revenue for FY25. So clearly, the bill's focus on formalizing the industry is positive for the particular counter, and the clamping down on the illegal online betting is also seen as a positive for this particular counter. Also, if we talk about Nazara Tech, now the company has been focused on casual, freemium and esports segment. However, they have an exposure to real money segment through PokerBaazi. The parent company Monsoon Technology is a parent of PokerBaazi, and the Monsoon Technology accounted as an associate and is not consolidated in the books of Nazara. And Nazara owns 46% stake in Moonshine Technologies. If we talk about the financials, the revenue from Moonshine stood at 192 odd crores, and the EBITDA stood at 74 odd crores for Q1 FY26. So PokerBaazi forms 35% of the sum of the parts valuation for Nazara Tech. So clearly the net effect still remains negative for this particular company. If we talk about the unlisted space, companies like Dream11, Mobile Premier League and Games 24/7, this would also take a hit as they will face hindrances in the form of the fund transfer restrictions that could choke user participation and the ad endorsements that could affect the brand spends and the marketing for these companies. Also, the industry is likely in a consolidation, and we may see smaller players exiting this industry. So this is what the overall picture is looking like for this gaming industry.
Right, thanks for that, Vansh. Meanwhile, we also spoke earlier to Nitish Mittersen of Nazara Tech, and we asked him about the company's equity investment in PokerBaazi's parent company. Let's listen in.
Nazara's revenues and EBITDA do not constitute of any real money gaming businesses. and therefore there is going to be no impact on our operating financials or going forward growth, etc., as far as our current core gaming businesses are concerned. We, of course, have invested in Moonshine, which operates PokerBaazi, which is the leading platform in that particular space. And we believe, it has been a good opportunity for us at the time of investing. This current proposed bill, as per what's come in the media, because we don't have access to the real bill, can put some, challenges to the current operating model of PokerBaazi in India, if it were to play out. But the team is very strong, the technology is very strong, and we will figure out how to adapt that business going forward.
Right, Nitish, good morning. Hiral on this side. So you're saying it could put pressure from here on. But let's understand how much has the contribution been with regards to the first quarter. A revenue of 192 crores, which is not a part of the consolidated books. Though you've mentioned that an EBITDA loss of around 74 crores is what you've seen, and this is on the back of higher marketing spends during the IPL. Now, the EBITDA loss was due to the front-loaded marketing costs. With that, how much has been the contribution to the losses in the consolidated book?
Sure. So in Q1, Nazara would have not included any revenues from PokerBaazi. It would have also not included any EBITDA profit or loss from PokerBaazi. However, the share of associates' profit and loss would come below EBITDA and translate into PAT. In this case, I believe it was around negative 20 crores or 25 crores, in that range, for PokerBaazi's contribution in our Q1 PAT numbers.
And now to add to that, if we are saying the 800 or 855 odd crores for what you've actually bought a PokerBaazi for, how do you look at treating this entire investment from here on? Will there be a change in strategy? Because the government has come out and said that, yes, this is not going to be allowed anymore. So what would that strategy be from here on?
So first of all, I'd like to see the actual bill being presented and the contents of it, to be able to, figure out what is the impact and how we are going to mitigate it. That said, it's also important to understand that Nazara's own strategy is focused on its core gaming business, which is a global business with over 80% of our revenues coming from international markets. We are a very diversified gaming platform, which is resilient to any such disruptions, whether it is due to regulation changes, taxation changes, changing consumer preferences, technology changes. There's always a lot going on in the gaming world. And over the last 2 decades, we built our business in a manner to be diversified and resilient to such challenges. So we believe our own strategy doesn't change. But of course, for PokerBaazi, depending on what's in the bill, they will have to adapt to it.
Nitish, morning. I have a 2-part question and just trying to understand this better. Firstly, I wish you luck that if indeed this bill comes through in the shape or form that is being believed right now, I wish you luck with re-strategizing that tech team that you spoke so highly about onto more profitable ventures. Now, until that happens, let's assume, Nitish, that we are right now talking at a time when you know for sure that this is the eventual truth. Do you do any, and it may not impact your revenues and EBITDA numbers, as you said, but does it have a one-off impact spread over 1, 2, 3 quarters on the bottom line?
There's definitely, depending again on the outcome of all of this, right? What the bill carries and how we are able.
But I'm saying the hypothesis, Nitish, that let's assume that this is how it turns out. Yeah.
Yes, there would be. And Nazara has generally been a very conservative company. We report our financials conservatively. So if the situation demands it, we will create necessary provisions.
Is there any sense of how large could these provisionings that you would have to take, Nitish?
It's very difficult to anticipate, but the best way to think of it is, think of the entire investment as a provision.
Okay.
If the bill is very stark in terms of what online real money gaming can do in India.
Got it. The other question, Nitish, that I have for you is that because you spoke so highly of this team, right, and you would have paid a top dollar for it because of the nature of the team, what is it that you can pivot to doing? Part 1. Part 2, could you kind of sell it on an international jurisdiction for business to be done there?
Yeah, absolutely. The team has maybe 200 engineers, so it's extremely tech first business, tech first platform, which is relevant globally and not in India. Because India was a home market, the team has focused a lot on building the business over here. But this technology platform that they have is one replicable across different geographies. Second, like you suggested, there could be licensing of this platform to other partners. There could be a potential sale, but it's all speculation. To be honest, it's very early at this point of time for us to be able to have a clear way forward unless we know what is the impact and what is the content of the bill.
Based on what you've said, and we've been speaking about the implications for your investment so far, but there are a lot of unlisted companies as well, and you're aware of the landscape in the real money gaming space. The point of contention seems to have been that there is no distinction that is made between skill-based and chance-based, and it's all bucketed under one. And so therefore, the stance that the government seems to be taking, and here I know that we're talking about this in hypotheticals, but what happens to the landscape here? Because ultimately there are a lot of people that are currently employed in the industry. There's a lot of investment that has taken place, money that is spent on advertisements, and so therefore, what happens to the industry in your opinion?
Well, of course, it's going to be an extremely challenging time for the industry. I would say a watershed moment for the industry if something that is speculated at this point of time were to come true. That said, I'm assuming that the government would have, looked at all aspects before taking any decision. So let us see what really happens.
Nitish, the other aspect is, what the government has come out and said is that now there is no distinguishing factor with regards to game of chance versus real money, right? There's absolutely no distinction now. So any of the other aspects or any of the other subsidiaries of Nazara that fall under this category now?
Absolutely not. So it's the only exposure we have with context to real money gaming. Where money in and money out exists. Of course, what we operate is through Pokerbazi is a skill-based platform. But like you said, there is no distinction being made. Nazara, of course, has a large number of global gaming IPs, which are, growing businesses for us. And I think in any case, in the last year, a lot of our focus has been to double down on it. We've acquired some very good companies like Fusebox Games and Curve Games in the last 12 months. And we will continue down that trajectory as far as our own strategy is concerned.
Just to follow up to Neeraj's question, he had asked you whether you would likely spread this over a few quarters if you have to take a provision, or whether it'll be front-loaded. Which is it going to be, the former or the latter?
I think it's not a binary answer. We will really need to evaluate what is the impact or what period is the impact, what is the mitigation opportunities we have in our hand. But I can assure you that whatever decision we will take will be a conservative decision.
And what led the government of India to bring in the online gaming bill in the first place? A move that effectively shuts down any game involving money. The root of this debate lies in Tamil Nadu, where online gaming companies and the state government have been locked in an intense legal battle. Let's take a step back and see how it all began.
Tamil Nadu is perhaps one of the only states that woke up early to the ills of online gaming: addiction, related mental health issues, and indebtedness. And worst of all, suicides. The state told the Madras High Court that at least 47 deaths by suicide between 2019 and 2024 were linked to addiction to online games. But that list does not include a 17-year-old boy in Madurai in March this year, nor does it include a 26-year-old man in Chennai who gambled 30,000 rupees meant for his mother's cancer treatment on online rummy and then took his life. Or a 45-year-old truck driver from Namakkal who took loans worth 75 lakh, lost it all and ended his life in February. Tamil Nadu's battle with online gaming began in 2021 when it passed the Tamil Nadu Gaming and Police Laws Amendment Act. This act held all online games, including poker and rummy, as games of chance and banned them. The act was formulated after the state formed a 5-member committee headed by retired Justice K. Chandru to look into the effects of online gaming. an online gaming company, Jungli Games, dragged the government to court. In 2022, the Madras High Court said that games like poker and rummy were games of skill and not games of chance. In October 2022, Tamil Nadu passed an ordinance called the Tamil Nadu Prohibition of Online Gambling and Regulation of Online Games Ordinance, and by April 2023, this was finally passed as an act. The act, apart from including games like rummy and poker, also provided for the creation of the Tamil Nadu Online Gaming Authority, which would monitor gaming sites and raise awareness on the ills of online gaming and gambling. The All India Gaming Federation took the state to Madras High Court and won in November 2023. Tamil Nadu then knocked the doors of the Supreme Court in 2024. The government of Karnataka joined them soon after in support of a ban on online gaming. Tamil Nadu currently does not allow users to play real money games during blank hours between midnight and 5 a.m. Strict KYC norms must also be followed by the gaming companies to ensure that users are over 18 years of age. And pop-up messages must be displayed boldly, telling the user that online gaming is addictive in nature. The latest online gaming bill tabled in Parliament by the centre will be a shot in the arm for the state of Tamil Nadu in its ongoing battle.
And now let's shift focus away from online gaming to an exclusive interview. Here's a strong vote of confidence from none other than BK Das, Director General of DRDO, India's defence powerhouse. In an exclusive chat with my colleague and NDTV's managing editor, Tamanna Inamdar, he said that the defence sector is achieving the right balance between private and public participation. The growing number of defence exporters is also a clear sign of India's progress and strength in its defence journey. Let's listen in.
The defence sector is in focus today because of the cabinet clearance to a 62,000 crore order for combat aircrafts. But even as we track what's happening with the stocks, etc., the core story of India's defence is changing slowly but surely. In fact, to speak on this, we have a very exclusive conversation today from someone who you may not hear from too often. Dr. BK Das, who's the Director General of ECS, that's the Electronics and Communication System at DRDO, is joining us on the show today. Thank you so much, Dr. Das, for speaking with us here at NDTV Profit. It's an absolute delight.
My pleasure.
Okay, let me start by just understanding what is happening right now. And I'm going to start straight with Project Sudarshan Chakra. This is something that Prime Minister spoke about in the 15th August speech. We have seen what happened with Operation Sindoor, etc. How has that now shaped the way we approach defense research? And let's start with your views on how India can build an anti-missile system.
Okay, I mean, if I look at where we are today, every nation needs to protect its sovereignty, its assets, its systems. That's the best part of the defense. And if we need to do that, the very first thing is we have to be alert. And the alert aspect comes from surveillance. So we should have certain long-range sensors to have a proper surveillance of all our areas around. And the idea in any kind of a protection is the fastest you get to know, and the time is the win. So if you know the things better and faster, you should be able to have your plans and strategies well. So India has led forward, not today, it's quite some time back we thought about our air defense program, that against any attack, what kind of a high precision systems we can make, which will be able to counterattack and protect the nation. So in this regard, our detections, our tracking, surveillance, and the missile systems we have been prepared with. So that's one aspect of air defense if you look at. But the best part of air defense is into three aspects. First comes the surveillance. The second comes the detection. The third comes the tracking. The fourth comes the identification, that whether it is a friend or a foe. And the moment you have the identification, you should plan the counterattack for neutralizations. These are the 5 layers of air defense any country has. So India in general and DRDO in particular have done quite a bit of an investment on the research in this special domain. Lots and lots of technologies are involved in all these 5 aspects which I explained to you. To start with the surveillance, detection and tracking through the radars, the long range radars, which as you are aware, India, we have got the powerhouse of radar in one lab called LRD and the industries together. So we are able to make long range radars, high precision radars, which can track multiple targets from very farther ranges. And after that, we can have a very high precision tracking, detection, identification. And apart from radar, we use certain other means like electro-optics, infrared imagery and various other physics to identify such targets. Once we identify such targets, we need to define its identification of a friend or foe. We have got built-in artificial intelligence, our knowledge base, our hardcore software, which our engineers have developed, scientists have designed, that we are able to classify and identify this as an attack target. Not only that, we can further predict its velocity, its point of impact and future course of action, based on which we have got the counter-attack mechanism. The counter-attack could be for a long-range missiles, which we have designed a number of them, or intermediate-range missiles based on the attack location, or it could be the electronic warfare systems wherein we do the soft killing by high-powered microwave and jamming of the signals, that is called soft kill. And finally, if it comes closer by for any reasons or if it is a short targets, then we have got the laser level directed energy weapon to counter-attack with a pinpoint attack and firing. So this is the various layered defense attacks which we have got, and of course the final level is always our attacks and the guns. So with this all multi-layer of attack, we can detect, we can identify, we can classify, we can define it, either it is an attack or a friendly, based on which the neutralize. So all these technologies in various forms by our multiple laboratories of DRDO, they have worked. And the entire industry belt of Indian defense sectors, both PSUs as well as private sectors, are fully geared up. They have taken our TOTs to realize such systems.
Yes.
And in totality, in various bits and pieces, the models have been developed, integrated, and in various forms it has been deployed. And today, lots and lots of research is going on in this particular field, how to have very high strength algorithms, high cognition algorithms, more signal processing, intensive evaluations,
Yes.
and more powerful radar and missiles for precision attack.
Dr. Das, give us a sense of how much of this is indigenous, developed by Indian scientists, how much of this is contributing by the private sector, and how much of it is something that we depend on our trading partners on or with?
Okay, let me tell you. Generally, this entire concept is 100% Indian concept. We have all thought, we have all planned, and we have executed. The design of the entire system is Indian. The entire algorithm, the development, the basic hardware design, the implementations, the entire thing is done by DRDO. But however, when we do the design, we take it up to prototyping level. We test it in the lab, we test it in the field. And through the industries, Indian industries I'm specifically saying, which comes through our general process of competition, and they realize in multiple numbers such systems through their systems and our design and all the protocols and every system design being Indian, we make the systems out. But having said that, there are certain core level dependencies will always be there. I think every country needs that. We cannot have indigenizations to the grassroots level to that extent. Let us say if you talk about basic processors or FPGA, if you talk about certain chips, certain SRUs, some basic blocks are always maybe certain detectors. Some few things are there which definitely comes out. But mostly end to end the system is designed, developed and designed and delivered by the Indian industries through Indian brain through DRDO.